Thanks for joining us this morning as we review a movie fresh from the theater, Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom, otherwise known as
Aquaman 2, The Last DCEU.
Yes, it is. This theme this week. We're dealing with things lost. Monday we had the lost truth on the meaning of Christmas. And then yesterday we had the Lost in Space review. Today we have the Lost Kingdom of Atlantis, or in Atlantis. And tomorrow we're going to be looking at the Lost Message. Was the Bible corrupted? For those of you who are just joining us in these live streams, our goal is to view entertainment biblically. In other words, in a way that we could use entertainment besides just enjoying it and choosing what we want to view, what's right, what's wrong, and stuff like this. We could use themes in movies and shows to be able to bring up conversations with people, ultimately pointing towards Christ. So this is the main focus of the channel. And part of that then is theology, because you want to be able to put up a defense for what you believe and why you're filtering out certain things and why you're looking for certain themes. So that's why we often focus on theology and why we're going to be taking a look at tomorrow's corrupt or preserved New Testament. And that answers a lot of questions that people have, a lot of rebuttals that people have. So I'm looking forward to that discussion. And your brother in Christ here is going to be joining me for that as well.
This should be fun.
I think so. There's
a lot to cover.
Yes, there is. We have... So the main premise, we're going to do a spoiler-free version of this review, and then we're going to dive into a spoiler version. We're going to let you know when that clicks over, because if you want to go see this movie, we don't want to spoil it for you. So, but if you don't care about it, join us for both parts. The main premise for this movie is this: having failed to defeat Aquaman the first time, Black Manta, still driven by the need to avenge his father's death, will stop at nothing to take Aquaman down once and for all. This time, Black Manta is even more formidable than ever before, wielding the power of the mythic Black Trident, which unleashes an ancient and malevolent force to defeat him. Aquaman will turn to his imprisoned brother Orm, the former King of Atlantis, to forge an unlikely alliance. Together, they must set aside their differences in order to protect the kingdom and save Aquaman's family and the world from an irreversible destruction. Dun, dun, dun. So, did the movie deliver? What was your rating on the movie?
We're going from 1 to 10?
1 to 10. Yep.
1 to 10? I'd say 4.
4. Okay. And with a spoiler-free reason for that, what would you say the reason for a 4?
There was really nothing outstanding.
Okay.
In the movie itself is more of just the same. I mean, if you're just going there to watch a superhero movie with a bunch of plot holes and a bunch of issues, and you're just saying, man, I'm a big fan of Aquaman. I just want to go see him kick some butt. Okay. Yeah. You will like this movie. But it's a little preachy. It's a little...
Yeah, there are some things in there that we'll get into to say whether it's like super good. If you really enjoy this, would be a great... If you're having a break here between Christmas and New Year's, you want to chill out, take some friends or family, go see a movie, this would be a good shot for you. I would say no. I would agree with you also. This is the 15th and final film or movie of the DC Extended Universe. It just didn't seem to deliver. They had a lot of production issues. There was all sorts of rumors about what was happening there. You had the whole Amber Heard thing going on, and whether no, it didn't. Whether you were, pro Amber Heard, or if you were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, she's such a jerk. That probably bled into it as well. But as far as the movie quality itself, I would give it probably originally I was going to give it a 6. The more I thought about it, I'm verging more down towards a 5. But there are a couple of redeeming things in the movie.
Yeah.
Watching it, I just kind of tuned out a lot of the negative stuff, and I just enjoyed the movie. I just tried to say, okay, I'm just gonna flow with this. Yeah, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief. There's a lot of things that just don't make a whole lot of sense. There's a lot of pacing issues and stuff like this. But I'm just going to enjoy it anyway. Sit down here. I had my younger 2 kids with me, and we just pretty much tried to enjoy it and went from there. There is a post-credit scene at the end, but it's not a teaser for an upcoming film because there is no upcoming film for this. They're done. They're done. They've talked about replacing all the characters. The last that I heard, I don't know, all the actors. The last I heard, I think they're only keeping the Flash, but they're getting rid of all the other actors, which they had some pretty good actors in here. I like Superman. I like Goldicott, Harry Cavill, the actor who played Superman. Great. I think they did a good job. But the storylines, the way the production, some of the CGI, all sorts of stuff, there was all sorts of issues with it. Did not perform as well as the MCU in its earlier days, in its pre-Endgame days. They also seem to take some things in from other movies. There's like a lot of, I wouldn't say it was like fan service because it wasn't, but there's reflections of other movies. Like they had the song Spirit in the Sky, written and performed by Norm Greenbaum. It was played during the movie. And was that a throwback to Guardians of the Galaxy? Because that was one of the main...
Could have been.
I don't know.
I didn't really catch it.
I'm not sure why, why would you put that in there since that's a song. You really can't claim these. I mean, you purchase rights and so forth, but why put your competitors, one of the major songs they had in their movie, put it in yours if you guys are trying to be side by side? I don't understand some of the thinking behind that. So I'm going to check the comments real quick. See what we have here.
I can see if you're doing like a slam on them. Like, see, I got the better version of whatever you're doing. Fine. But
Right. Or if it's a parody.
Or parody version, yeah.
Or you've upped it, order of magnitude over what they had presented.
I could see that, but I don't see, I don't see that music being anything.
No. So just a couple of comments here to get things started. Adam said, nice, then I'll like this movie.
Again, if that's what you want, if you want a superhero movie, if you want more of the same stuff that you've seen before, you want to see Aquaman kick some butt.
Yeah. I guess if your expectations are also low going in, and if you're like, I'm not going to see anything ever Hurdzin again, ever, then you can check this out. I would not say it's a keeper. We tend to get copies of movies, DVDs afterwards. If we say, hey, I'm going to check this out, we're going to keep this, want to see this again, or play it when someone comes over. I don't think this is going to be on our shelf. I don't think it's that quality. It's got to be much higher than a 5.5 to end up on our shelf. Then you followed up and said, but I won't see it. Henry Cavill, thank you. That's what I was looking for.
There you go.
Yeah. And there's some pretty good interviews I've seen recently with him that were pretty funny. Thomas Hall said, does it matter what you do when you know the franchise is dead? Yeah.
I mean, you can have some real serious fun with it. I think there are a couple of series, Stargate Atlantis. I think that they knew they were wrapping up, and they just had fun with some of the.
I think it's different.
Episodes.
Yes, and they could have done that. There was no tipping the hat to say, any kind of thing to say they were wrapping up, any kind of nod, like post-scene credits showing all the previous films and having them lifted up in some kind of montage or something like that. There was nothing like that. There's no indication this is the end. In fact, there's a statement that Aquaman makes at the end of the movie that almost makes it sound like the beginning of the end of Iron Man, where it's gonna, watch out for Iron Man 3 coming out in 3 years or whatever. There was none of that happening. And it's different. You almost wonder if there was some loss of energy in the program or in the production with either the cast or crew saying,
they recorded the last bit.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just getting my check and that's it. So I don't know if that bled into it at all. I want to put a couple of other ones in here. Oh, I'm sorry. Put this in.
Go out with a bang. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. And what's the crazy thing with that? You end up with like Final Fantasy was originally that. The first Final Fantasy was, hey, we're closing up shop. We aren't making money. This gaming company is not doing anything. We might as well just do whatever we want that we want to have fun with. And we'll go ahead and just make this game we really want and throw it out there. And that's it. We're all done after this. We're just going to wash our hands and walk away. Now, what are we at? Final Fantasy, 25? I don't know where we're at anymore.
It kept going. It kept going.
But that's the point.
Yeah.
They did that, got it out to the fans. The fans loved it.
Right.
So it could have been something like that could have blown up. But again,
it didn't.
I give a 4 or 3, whatever I gave it earlier.
It's going down. It's going down
now. More I'm thinking about this movie.
Another 10 minutes going to be a 2, and we're minus
2. There's still redeeming qualities about this movie.
So Syke said there was a small rivalry between Chris Hemsworth and Jason Momoa about Chris was working out and Jason using muscle padding in the suit. It could be something to do with since Thor joined the and it cut off.
The dun dun dun.
It doesn't say. Guardians. There we go. Okay. Yikes. Yeah. So I will say on a positive note, Jason Momoa did add flair and some fun to the movie. Whether that was actually fitting for the Aquaman character, if you go back and look, he's a little more stoic or a little more focused on what the job is done. Let's get the job done type of thing. But I think that really helped carry some of the entertainment value of the movie. Some of the jokes landed, some they didn't. But we'll hit that in a bit.
It really sounded because I really do like the actor, at least the roles that he's played in previously.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in Stargate
Atlantis, yep.
Where I referred to that earlier. I think that's the first one I saw him in. And I was like, oh, okay. So I saw him come back in for this one, and I haven't seen him really in very many other roles since then. I was like, oh, cool. I guess, he's going to play Aquaman. This is going to be interesting. Okay.
Well, speaking of Aquaman, we'll look at Aquaman's origins. Aquaman had his start in the 1960s. Comic book series, and you can see this guy doesn't look a whole lot like Jason Momoa. There's a little bit of difference with the hair color there, no beard going on, but he had this is way back when, I don't know if you want if it's considered the golden age of comic books, but he was a character that had some special abilities. He can talk to fishies, and he has special strength. He can swim really fast and things like this. Kind of a Superman underwater, but with he can talk to wildlife. What?
It's not bulletproof.
No, he's not bulletproof. Kryptonite doesn't work on him. He's not as strong as Superman. All sorts of things like that. But he was out there. He did his thing. Now, I remember I remember him best from the 1970s version. Oh, okay. Laugh. I don't care. Laugh. This is my show.
I've seen some of them.
Saturday mornings, as stupid as they were, I was a kid.
I saw reruns.
This was mine, right? And he played a good supporting character in this. He had his own. There you go. He had, what was it? Storm was the name of his steed here.
I don't remember.
It does show up in the movie.
I was too young for that. I was just interested in Batman or Superman. I could care less.
Were you even around in the 70s?
No, I wasn't around in the 70s. I'm talking about the reruns.
Okay. So we have a bit of let's take a quick look at the cast and characters of this before we get into our spoiler-free rating. We have Arthur Curry, Aquaman, and Mera, his wife, who does not appear too much in the movie, and we'll get that a bit. There was a lot of cutting, a lot of things that was done to the movie, and apparently she only had 11 lines during the movie. She is there. She does do some things, but she's not. Would you say she's a main character at all in the movie?
Side character at best.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you could have. Someone else could have stepped in. They could have given those few scenes to someone else, and I think it would have ended up developing the story better.
Yeah. So if you have a kind of you're rooting for or something like that, you're going to be a little disappointed that she's not showed as much, and say, "Oh, this is so misogynistic. Why are they not putting in enough?" Or if you're like, "Ugh, Amber Heard," then you'll kind of flinch at some of the scenes. But whatever the deal is, she's an actress. She pretends to play the part just like all the other actors do.
Almost like it's their job or something like that.
It threatens sanity is on. He can correct me if this is speaking, being somebody from Greece and speaking Greek. He can correct me on this, but from what I understand, the Greek word for actor is where we get the word hypocrite from.
Yes.
So
actually, I do know that one.
You do know that one. That's true, and you can chime in to say if that's true or not. But we do have her, the actress, Greek name for the actress, and then we have Marius, his brother. He does an amazing transformation. All you need to do to work out now is get a little bit wet. I won't say anything more than that. There might be a bit of a spoiler. Then we have the one and only villain in this story, David Kane, Black Manta. Now, I say the one and only because that's a bit of a problem with this movie. There's more than one, and there's issues with that. Sometimes you get more than one, but there's an issue with it. Then you have King Nereus, played by Lundgren, and then Nicole Kidman plays Atlanta, his mother, Aquaman's mother, and Orm's mother as well. There's a couple of other people that are in here you may not know. This Stephen Shin, he plays a much bigger role than you see Mara play in here, and
yes, he does.
He goes back and forth. This is a guy who does not have a spine, but he shows a little bit later in the movie, maybe. No spoilers. And then this guy. There's all sorts of characters we can bring in here, but I do want to talk about him. The Brine King, played by, the name is covered. Rhys Davis. I can't see the name because I have it covered. I don't remember his name up front, but you may recognize him from previous movies. Dun, 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 and
Imre.
Don't tell the elf. And finally, we have King Necrus, who is a CGI character, but he is the second bad guy. All right, so I've set that up just to be able to say when we go through and we do our rating, you have an idea in your mind of the different characters that are involved in this. I'm going to take a quick look at comments to see if we have anything going on. I wonder why she doesn't appear. I don't know. It's a real mystery watching this movie, see what happens here. But they had to get, yes, the contract. Lovely contracts, and that's why. Okay, where would you say there was pros to this movie? Spoiler free. You know what?
Spoiler free.
Let's. I'm going to change it up here. Let's go completely spoiler rating because I don't know going forward if we can say much without spoiling the movie.
I know it's kind of hard because I keep everything pretty close to the chest on this one.
Yeah,
and anything we say will basically spoil something with the movie. So if you guys are going to watch it, go watch it and then come back. If you guys just want our opinions on it and maybe watch it with our opinions in tow, then
yes, keep
stick
watching
here.
Keep watching.
Actually, I'd recommend just go ahead and watch it with this. Listen to us and then go watch it if you're going to watch it. If you're not going to watch it, then just listen to us anyway.
Okay.
And get the cliff notes.
Okay. What would you say pro-wise?
Pro-wise, I think there's the redemption story of the last villain the brother, and there's redemption of that aspect of it that I think was good. I think the finding your place, I thought for a while that the brother was actually going to become the King of Atlantis. I thought they were going to do
You're
that.
talking about this guy right here.
Yeah. I thought that Aquaman was going to turn over at a certain point.
Yeah, he does sort of almost want to hand over the kingdom again. Now, that was something I thought was a bit of a weakness, because in the previous movie, you have this character transformation, how Aquaman refuses, doesn't want anything to do with the kingdom. He says, it's not my job. And then he finally, at the end, takes it and says, I am the King of Atlantis, and takes the position.
Yeah.
And now he's moaning about it again. Now, I guess you can have a little bit, you get a new job and you're all excited about it. And after a couple weeks, couple months, couple years, you're like, oh, I got to go to work. But it was back to whatever character transformation he had in the beginning. Was the first movie was sort of reset for this one, looked like.
They didn't do too bad with the Mantis character being like the foil of that. I'd say the main character is probably his brother more than Aquaman himself. Granted, it doesn't come in until later, but as far as character change goes and redemption story, I'd say that was, it was Aquaman's brother who really had that going for him. Aquaman changed a little bit, but not very much at all as far as character development goes.
Okay, so the pros, you would say that the tension between the brothers was
they did a good job on a relationship. Again, that's why I gave it, I think I did give it a 4 originally. That's why.
Yeah.
Just because that redemption story and the brothers' relationship and the interplay between those two really helped save this movie from getting, a 2. And also just because I really do enjoy the 2 of the main actors.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the actor that plays Gimli previously, and I really enjoy, again, the actor that plays Aquaman. I really do enjoy both of them.
Well, the actor who plays Gimli, he doesn't show up a whole lot. You don't actually see him, right? Because he does the voice.
It's the
CGI character.
CGI, but
right.
I still really do.
It was so he has such an iconic voice. As soon as you hear him, you say, "Oh, don't tell the elf." So I would say there's a couple of good things here with it. One was the humor and the tension between the brothers. It was a buddy cop sort of buddy love thing where they don't like each other. You got to the fortunate situation and go. And this dips a little bit into the negative side. That was probably the strongest, in my opinion, the strongest element in the movie. They could have brought that forward a lot more and spent time with that. But there's reasons we'll get back later that maybe why they didn't. The other part that I would say was positive was it was an okay superhero movie. Like I said, if you go in with low expectations, B-rated almost movie, this would be up there, which is unfortunate. The amount of time and money they sunk into this movie.
I'd say that this would. Yeah, I agree with you. This is like a B movie. Yeah, which is really bad for the dceu group, because they're supposed to be putting out A-rated material, and they're coming out and this is B grade.
It's not up there. Yeah, I think that's one reason why my wife liked it, and because she likes B-rated movies. So this is up there. Maybe she'll get it. Maybe it'll be on our shelf after all.
Yeah. So that, again, if that's what you want.
Now, if this
expecting that, yes.
But if this was made before Iron Man, before that happened, before Iron Man came out and the whole MCU meteoric rise and everything like that, and if the other writing issues and some of the CGI were addressed and things like that, this would have been spectacular. There was a lot of other issues we'll get to later. But if those had those tweaked, if those were done better, and this came out before Iron Man, then I think it would have been really good. But that was 15 years ago. A lot has happened since then. A lot of CGI, a lot of superheroes. And we're pretty high on our superhero fatigue.
Right now, it seems like Godzilla is still...
he's not a superhero. It's maybe an anti-hero or something. So Godzilla's still up there.
Fight.
But then we have... I wanted to go over... Gosh, I'm going to make this... hopefully that you can read that. But I wanted to go over, this is the rating that we have with superhero fatigue. I sent out this poll. It said, are you feeling burnt out fatigue by superhero movies? If so, what would you prefer to see? Now, I didn't get a whole lot of answers on what people preferred to see, but the split was basically 80-20 on this, and it was consistent throughout. This is for 47 votes. And the responses here were good, and I'm going to read through a couple as quickly as I can. Maddie Skilling said, I'm not burnt out from superhero movies. I do wish that they would get back to writing good stories again that have actual weight, consequences, and were entertaining. They should get writers who know and care for the source material, not just people who want to push an agenda and are willing to and happy to destroy the director's IP that have, and it cuts off for me, so I can't see the rest of it here, but I know he did. He had a.
There should be a few more, right?
It does. I just had it blown up so people can see it. Want to destroy actors and the IP that's been around longer than they have. That's true.
No, I think that's a great example. In fact, I think what was a recent series I heard that happened to? The Witcher and Netflix had that same issue where the actor again, Superman,
Henry Cavill. Yep.
He was big fan of the series, I guess, and he really loved it and really wanted to draw the characters out and really had that going. But the directors and everything said, we don't care. We're just going deep six everything in order to push a message into it. And the message ended up ruling over everything. And eventually the actor said, you know what? You guys are basically violating the terms of my contract.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump.
Yeah.
Because the terms of his contract were you have to stay on the source material.
Oh, I didn't realize he had done that.
To my understanding, that's what it was. And he's saying, nope, at season 3, it's very clear you guys aren't. I'm out.
Okay, that would make sense. So that was true. The first thing that comes to mind is Rings of Power and also the MCU post Endgame.
Oh, yeah.
It seemed like a lot of that was going on. It's like, come on, guys. Or the list goes on. Star Wars, Doctor Who. What else you got that's on that list? Basically, all the stuff that I really liked and cared about. They pushed this different philosophy agenda or whatever on it, and it's just like, come on, guys.
Most of the stuff you got on your wall back there.
Yes, let the story tell itself.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree that I don't think if they would have allowed the story, if they would have had good stories, I think that would have driven it. And I think that we would still be seeing a large turnout for the superhero movies. I think this superhero was a fatigue that they're calling it isn't really. You might have some of that, but I think it's more the message fatigue and tired of seeing their main heroes that they grew up with being mistreated.
I think there's a little bit more to that. I think there is a little bit of superhero fatigue, and we'll get back to the comments here in just a minute, and I don't want to spend too much time on this. But in my opinion, I think there's only so many times you can tell a certain story type before you start hitting all the edges and angles and people want to. There's other stories out there that can be told as well. And one example of that would be like Die Hard that we reviewed last week, saying that he's not a superhero.
No. He has really
John McClane was not a superhero in that movie. He was a bit of an underdog. He was outnumbered. He was outgunned. And he had to use his wits to be able to overcome. Now, had that been like a Superman movie, you'd have to have something else, like all the bad guys have kryptonite or something like that. But here you want to root for the underdog. Now, this is just action movies. So you also have other types of movies, more thoughtful movies, more thought-provoking. You have fantasy. You've got, this is a bit of fantasy though. You've got a mystery, whodunit. You've got all romance. You've got all of these different movie types that you can put out there, and not just this one particular subgenre of action movies being superheroes. I do like a good superhero movie, but
so I see one type of show that seems to be fulfilling that, going down those sort of avenues.
What's that?
Doing experimental stuff. That'd be anime.
Anime. Yeah, they're not as restricted as what Hollywood is. We talked about that before.
Shots.
Sword Art Online. We did a review on that. So
you have to be careful.
I do have, yes, definitely. There's a lot of junk in there too. So Threatened Sanity came back and said, and Hippokritos.
If I'm correct. Well.
Etho. Now I don't have my reading glasses on, so I'm struggling with the Greek here. Ethos, the person pretends to be someone else artistically, the actor.
Yep.
So thank you for looking this up. And he said, I broke my brain.
No.
Go back and recover. Thank you for your input. I think you hit it on the nose.
Oh, no.
And they'll never go back. But Christopher Reeve, Superman, was the only one to get the character right. Interesting. I grew up with some of the old TV series, the black and white version of Superman, where they had it. And so, yeah, there's a lot of different versions or incarnations of that. And I was thinking about anime stories. Yeah, there's a lot more freedom. I think maybe in the Japanese view of making this type of cinema.
Again, they're willing to do a run of 12 episodes on some crazy concepts and just give it a shot. You get some, like I said, you get some junk in there. You get a lot of empty sort of stupid things, and then you end up getting 12 episodes and then that you really like it, and then it ends up just dying.
Yeah.
At the 12th, but at least they try it.
Yeah. There's some different experimentation. And so going back to some of the comments here, oops.
Yep, you're on the right one.
I just have to push play. The movie making. So this is from Sherry, AdSense 8766. Movie making definitely needs a new invention, new creative, never been imagined before stories. I've read some amazing novels with this kind of innovation. Hollywood needs to read more. Yes. Now, and I did answer into this. I'm going to put this in a quick synopsis. The problem starts even before Hollywood. The problem starts in the publishing industry and the writing industry. Now, not all movies have their origins in books, but in large part, books are the impetus for idea creation that ends up coming into a movie. But to be traditionally published, generally speaking, for the most part, especially for the big five, you have to go through the gatekeepers, which are literary agents. Literary agents have the key to be able to get into publishers and presses. You have some small presses and things like that you can do to maybe not have literary agents. The problem with literary agents is most of them are, not all of them, but most of them are like English majors. And there's not a whole lot you can do with a degree in English, other than maybe teach and become a literary agent, maybe some other things. So they are there. And as you can imagine, someone who is an English major in today's universities will come out with a certain sort of philosophy or thinking that is going to want to see certain types of movies. So they're standing there at the gate. They're only letting certain things in. And those have to be what they're asking for. And you have this on Manuscript Wish List, which is on Twitter. The things that they're basically asking for is strong female protagonists. Forget about men, especially white cisgendered men. Forget it. Strong female protagonists and diverse characters. And I can see kind of balancing some things out like this and having some nuance and flavor, but that's all they're pretty much looking for. And so there's the only in own voices. There's a bunch of other things that are keeping good stories from getting traditionally published. And that's why a lot of people are going the indie route, because they're saying, listen, I can't get published any other way. I'm going to have to go this direction.
Unfortunately, on the indie route, you also get a lot of junk.
Right.
Going through. So the gatekeepers were keeping some things out, filtering some things out, but at the same time, they are now filtering out things that definitely should get through.
There is something you said about making sure that there is quality material, and when you have self-published industry that's open, especially post-COVID, with people sitting around not a whole lot to do on their bucket list, they say, I need to write something, they put something out. It's not really vetted well. It's not edited well. They haven't taken time to develop their skill and craft. But let's see. I did have a follow-up comment from Psyche. Said, there was anime versions of Blade, Iron Man, X-Men, and Wolverine. Are you familiar with any of those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The X-Men, definitely.
Right.
X-Men, Wolverine. I don't know if they did an independent Wolverine one, but at least the X-Men. There's an animated series. It used to be on Saturday mornings, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But that was a long time ago when Saturday mornings actually mattered.
Yeah, they did. Okay. And you can sit down there with your Fruit Loops in front of the TV and what you okay.
Now my kids are like, we'll just watch it whenever.
Yeah, streaming. Classic power trip. Yeah, that can happen, I think, with some of the. And you know what? You're gonna, if you have the gates, the keys to the kingdom, you're going to put up whatever you want. And I'm going to take this off for just a second here. So I was getting back into it, but I want to hit some of these. Even that, where are the good, strong female characters? Don't even deliver on that.
What was it? What was the show? I forget what show I was just watching not too long ago. That was like, man, that's a good, strong female character. I don't remember which one that one was.
I would say you had. I think it's a classic example. Would be they say we're breaking the glass ceiling. There has never. We're so beautiful, so strong. It has never been done before. You've never had a strong female character in science fiction. This is the first one in science fiction movies. I'm thinking Aliens.
That's actually when I said science fiction. That's the first one I got. I mean, seriously,
Sigourney
she
Weaver?
kicks serious butt in all of them.
Now,
and it's natural. It's not forced.
Here's the other thing too: the idea that feminine, in order to be strong, must be masculine. And that's not true.
No.
You can be feminine, you can be a female, you can be a woman with feminine attributes and have a strength that men can't have. And so you focus in on that. You don't try to make women men and men women. Let people be who they are and let the strengths naturally draw out of it. We are complementary. Men and women are complementary to each other. And finding out where that complementary. Now, you do have outliers. You do have women that end up being strong, but the strongest man could easily defeat the strongest woman. And so you don't compete on that level. Compete on a different level that you have your strengths in. I'm sorry, I'm getting on the soapbox there.
No, I agree with you. And I think that would make a powerful story if you're pulling that aspect out. If that is the main issue of a story, it would be very interesting. It would be cool to listen to it and watch it. But yeah, no.
So a couple of things that we're talking about just real quickly about Aliens and Sigourney Weaver in that her character was forced to do that. It's not something like push the man out of the way. I'm stronger. I'll prove myself to the world. She was in that situation. She had to do this. She had to survive. And then there was the girl in the first, I think it was the first alien, right? She had found the little girl that was stuck there. No. Was that the second?
I think it's
that was the second. You're right. And she said there you have the maternal instincts of protection coming out. And that was a good example of feminine physical strength being revealed. But like I said, there are other attributes. We need to do a live stream on this. Just this attribute. I want to get it. We should do a poll
and get good female.
Yes, and get and get people get a poll of viewers. Get good feedback from you guys. See what you say. We're going really off the rails on this one, and don't mean to. That's a problem being live. I meant actual Japanese anime, but I did watch the Uncanny X-Men 2. So you're talking about Japanese. I wonder what they do for copyright for that. Do they buy the rights?
I don't know
for that. That's because they're very careful.
They're very strict on.
They're very Japanese are very strict. We got Toho Studios came after us for
doing a review.
Yeah,
all those Godzilla ones they were not happy about. Well, at least they held on to it for a while.
And it was a positive review. It says, guys, you should use this for entertainment.
They eventually had to give it away because it was fair use.
Gatekeepers are ruining Hollywood. Unfortunately, yes. I mean, look at it from a literary standpoint. Look at it, and you can say that something is selling now, something is not. So you can look at it from that point of a marketing standpoint too. So I would think the gatekeepers should look at those two things: is it quality, is it story told well, the mechanics here and everything. Are we going to spend 400 hours trying to edit this thing down? And then is this going to sell well? I think those are very good questions. But to say that it doesn't fit a certain agenda. You're going to ruin, because the only thing they're putting out now, it seems like, is the same story over and over and over again, except we're changing gender, changing race, changing what?
They just remake.
A couple of nuances, and that's it. Maybe this is why the sentience wife on the AI series was weird. You are a nerd female. Please back.
Don't know. Damn watch it.
Oh no, he's talking about with Lost in Space.
Oh, Lost in Space. Okay.
There may have been some of that. I didn't see too much in that, although they did do the race swapping with the daughter, and I felt like it seemed kind of odd. I'm not sure.
Well, the point was she was supposed to be adopted.
Was she adopted or previous marriage?
Okay. And her dad and mom both died, and then she was adopted by the family. And
that's right. And then she finds her father later. Yeah.
To it that really didn't.
No, I could see where you would want to. I could see that working pretty well. Gatekeepers often end up this way. Too much power leads to corruption. Yes, absolute power corrupts. Absolutely, yes. And what do you think of Eric Julius comic? Are you familiar with him?
Nope.
He has a couple of follow-ups here. Sorry, I'm speaking to text. Eric July.
Eric July, not familiar with.
Okay, not
but
familiar.
There's a lot of stuff that I'm not familiar with.
So, getting back to the comments on the poll, we have one here from James Witt. Please check the superhero found footage film Chronicle 2012. I read this, and I'm going to have to check this out. I haven't looked at it yet. I'm sure we're back to the topic of superhero fatigue. That probably bleeds a little bit into it. Where the original, this is from John Paul 4787, where the original ideas of the 80s and early 90s, nothing is new and exciting anymore. Yeah, that just mirrors what we were just talking about with what's there. And Joy F 5539 said quality is bad. So
this is one of the reasons I'm thinking Angel Studios might be doing really well. If they get some more advertisement, at least their name out a bit more, might be doing really well. Because I mean, we did The Shift.
We did
that was kind of a new concept.
It was a new twist. It was a different story that was being told. I agree with you. That was good. It was. Now there were some issues with it, but by and large, I would suggest if you can find if you want to go out and watch a movie, find a theater that has this. Skip Aquaman.
I mean, even that, you got Godzilla.
Godzilla 2. The movies that we saw this year, those two, The Shift and Godzilla were...
Shift and Godzilla were the best that we've reviewed so far as what's new out there. Both of those brought new things to... Well, Godzilla brought new stuff to the genre, I would say. More actual character-driven stories, which hasn't been a thing in that series. And Shift is just new.
So back to the pros and cons, I would say the cons for this movie would be the scenes were choppy. I don't know if that was in post editing or with all the different things they had to do with the whole Amber Heard controversy, or if they went back and I heard they had some early screenings that had negative reviews. They go back and make some changes. That can be very risky because you end up with some things that don't make sense scene to scene. You don't have the flow and the pacing that needs to be there. But there was a lot, as an author, I would say there's a lot of poor writing that was done there. There was a full exposition that was done. It was a voiceover as they were going in to launch their plan. She says, with this, and this. Generally, that's the big no-no, don't show, don't tell, is that you don't want to tell what's going on. You want to show what's going on, especially in writing. There's some exceptions to that, but that was weird. And then you had a lack of direction with this. What I'm talking about, the focus of the bad guy. Who was really the bad guy in this movie?
It was really split because it really wasn't.
So was it the Mantis who had his revenge plot? That he's going back,
and it was after the family.
It was a side thing in the first movie. And they're drawing it out to this one. It looks like it's going to launch. This is going to be this guy going after Aquaman. He gets his super suit. He gets this trident. He's going to really come after him. And he's going to be able to take him out and his family. But then this guy shows up and he steals the show. He steals the show because this guy is possessed by this guy. This guy no longer has
autonomy.
Yeah.
It's no longer his decisions that are driving the bad guy plot.
Yeah, he's not totally out of control. I mean, he has power, and he says, "I'm going to do this. I'm going to let the whole world burn just so I can kill Aquaman." Okay, you're nuts, because you're not going to live very long after that. And anybody that you do care about, was your dad the only one that you cared for?
Seems like it.
So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense with that. So lack of direction. Seemed like it was going back and forth with a lot of motivation that seemed to be off kilter. The character growth, you mentioned character growth with the brother. He did have, I was the only point where I saw character growth there.
Yeah.
That you don't really have anything else, anybody transform, anybody change by this event. And then we had a big thing was global warming / climate change is going to kill us all. We better go kill the bad guys so we can set everything back. What was the problem with that?
Oh, this was such an issue. This is so bad. Sorry, when you've got to fabricate the entire thing in order to justify your message you're pushing forward, and in so doing defeat the purpose of the message.
Yeah.
It's really bad because the only reason... Okay, so global warming...
Set this up. What happened in this story? Because people don't know. They haven't seen this. It happened to this. I can do it if you can.
I'm sorry. This is the biggest bone I have. Well, one of the biggest bones I have with this story. So you have the villain has to use a super scientific furnace in order to burn this new material that's not known to the main world in order to pollute the atmosphere and get everything. And then you got global warming going. So he's warming up everything in order to melt the ice around this ancient city and, free this guy, right? The issue with that is the reason why the guy is frozen in ice to begin with in the North Pole. The reason why the North Pole exists is because they imprisoned the guy there by choice. Yeah. The Atlanteans did. Yeah. So the Atlanteans did massive global cooling in order to prison this guy, changing the entire.
And the Atlanteans are really mad at the humans, the Earth, the land dwellers, because they were destroying the world. They're global warming. They're changing everything. They're changing the environment. There's all these other problems. And yet that's the exact same thing they did to imprison this guy years ago. And they want him back in there.
And even the reason why they imprison this guy, it's not because they're scared this guy is going to get free that they're upset about this. They don't even remember this guy was frozen.
Right.
They don't even remember anything about this. This was a lost history.
Lost history. Yep.
So they're just upset that the land dwellers are undoing the changes they made, the damage they made. If anything, the global warming is actually helping everything go back to the original state it was to begin with. And it's
so
I forget. Is this supposed to be bad?
So there's one other aspect to this, and is that they were able to encase the bad guy, Necros, in ice. They didn't kill him. It's we're just gonna freeze him so someone can come around and unthaw him later. Just kill him. So I guess they couldn't. So they were gonna lock him in ice, and they did that by blood magic. So someone back later said, "No, it's DNA. No, it's blood magic." So
it's blood magic. So he used freaking blood. The good guy used blood magic. And no.
Yeah, no, not good. No, not good. So they had this ritualistic thing where they encase him in ice with. So what does that's totally, it's two different things that are happening with this. You got the blood magic going on, you got the global warming going on. I guess the global warming is supposed to free him from this, and all they have to do is stop the machines from putting all this stuff in the atmosphere, and then maybe keep the blood from getting to the throne to release him.
But then you didn't need a lot of blood either. You just need a couple drops.
But in the end, they kill him. Why didn't they do that in the beginning?
Why didn't they just kill the guy to begin with? Yeah. I don't know.
That Trident's been around, right? Isn't that the same Trident?
The Trident's been around. The guy was locked up. I mean, when he gets unfroze, he's like breaking the chains. That obviously they took him to the throne room. They wrapped him up. They imprisoned him there, and they stood back and did the little blood magic ritual in order to freeze him solid so that he could later defrost.
Right.
Why? Just shoot the guy to begin with, and you're done.
That's what it was.
I also have the issue with one of the major things that just like instantly pulled me out of it is the first couple of scenes.
Which was,
the pirates. So you have a pirates taking over the ship, and Aquaman comes up there and he, beats up everyone, and
he lands on the deck of the ship, and there's like 40 guys out there. And they all got clubs. Why there's 40 pirates there?
They got swords, they got clubs, and it's like, okay, hold on. First of all,
he does all this martial arts.
Have you ever seen a modern day pirate? They don't have cutlasses. Well, I mean, they might be carrying machetes on the side, but the primary weapon isn't cutlasses, which is what is shown in here. They're guns. These guys would be lined up and shoot him. And if you want to say, well, the armor he has is bulletproof, so it's ricocheting off like Superman.
I don't think it does do that, do they?
Even if you wanted to say that, he has a face.
Yeah.
That is not bulletproof.
Yeah.
If you've got ricochet, if you got metal shards going up, even if it's not part of the story, he is not bulletproof. But if you wanted to add that to the armor being bulletproof.
Right. So that really does set the tone for the rest of the story, because there's a lot of stuff that seems staged. Yeah. And this is the part where I said, I had to close my mind off to this to be able to sit back and enjoy it. Just, okay, so they got some good acrobatics with the martial arts going on and stuff like this. Just go with it. So, are there any Christian themes that can be pulled out of this? So,
redemption.
So this is the goal of what we're trying to do. We do have some analysis and everything with reviewing the story, talking about it from a theatrical standpoint, storytelling, if it's a good story or whatever. But then also to say, listen, here are some redeeming qualities out of the movie. You can pull this out. And you mentioned redemption.
I'm sorry. One other thing on the con side, real quick, before I dive in that. Amber Heard's character, I would have had her actually. There's at least one part that it looks like she's going to die at the beginning. And I would have killed her off there.
Well, there was a lot of scenes they already had filmed, so I don't know if they could have done that. So
because that would have, and then I would.
You do have people that wanted to see her in there, so you got to balance.
Well, no, I would have used that as a catalyst. I would have used that as one of the driving factors in Aquaman himself, to have him almost seeking revenge, similar to what Mantis was seeking, and then him giving that up and giving mercy at the end. And I would give it, because she comes in like 3 or 4 other scenes, and then that's it.
So it's a motivation for him. It would have been a new motivation. That's not a bad twist. I think that would have worked out well.
That way you fulfill the contract.
Right.
She's in the movie. You get out of it if that's what your goal is. She's not in the rest of the movie, but her character impacts the rest of the movie in a meaningful way.
And you could have had the brother come alongside and actually say, you need to let that go.
Yes, his brother could have helped him move through that grief, and that would have been a character change for Aquaman. That would have been a character change for the brother.
Oh, yeah.
You would have seen that development. Yeah. And where it would have also mirrored, that forgiveness would have mirrored. In fact, that would have been so good at the end there, because you have the Mantis dude falling, and Aquaman tries to go save him. If that would have been the moment of forgiveness, like, I'm looking down at my wife's murderer, and I have the opportunity of saving him or letting him die. And you know what? I'm choosing forgiveness.
You know what? I don't know if that would have. I can see that as being a point of forgiveness, but there is no asking for forgiveness. The guy, if he had a change of heart, that might have been different. But if Mantis would have continued down this road, he is a threat, a proven threat. He needs to be taken out. And you just saw an example of having Necros over there.
It made my skin crawl whenever he did. I was like, I will help you. And I'm like, dude, he is trying to kill your family.
Well,
the answer is no.
and he's willing to kill everybody else
Yes,
to be able
annihilate
to
everyone, kill
Yeah.
anyone in your way.
No,
It's like,
he needs
is
to be
an
out.
active threat.
Maybe the only thing would be to take him to some kind of judicial system instead of you being the judge and executioner at one spot.
Yeah, so there's repentance with his a little bit. Maybe after he was possessed, he has a bit of, he really just comes to terms, man, I become what I hated. And that's unacceptable. He joins in with the brothers trying to stop this. And one of the problems is the guy in the ice was built up as this big, huge bad guy, right?
Right.
And it's not very hard to defeat.
No.
If it would have been like all three of the guys had to team up in order to stop this big bad guy who just broke out of the ice.
Yeah.
The brothers and Mantis all working together. And at that point, then you have the redemption process with the forgiveness. And boom. There you go. That would have been like, that would have brought this movie up. In my mind, it would have brought it up to an 8.
Okay.
But no.
So you do have getting back to revealing Christian themes, you do have brotherly love and redemption and forgiveness. Those are the two things I see that are here that can be pulled out. You do have sacrifice and hope and faith, that those are general things that you have in most movies. It doesn't really come out, doesn't really rise to the surface a whole lot. The brotherly love and forgiveness were key things that you can point out and pull. So see this with a brother that you have a problem with, and maybe, you can mend some of your relationship or something. Checking out any last chats here. We have, let's go for this. When a viewer has a question and plot holes, superhero movie, that's a huge no-no.
When viewers have questions, I'm thinking he's talking about the telling, not showing. What?
Your brother in crisis?
Christ. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be your brother in Christ.
No, I think, okay, it might have been a play on words. Okay, it's bad guys versus bad guys.
Kind of a lot of it was.
What you're talking about? Okay, so are we talking about Necris, which is the king that's being resurrected?
Might as well just call the whole freaking other.
And Mantis? Is that what the two they were talking about here?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and no, it wasn't that plot twist. There is no hero.
Okay, that would have been interesting.
I think it would have been, as the last movie, I think it would be really anticlimactic.
That would have been, at least it would have been, they would have been something different.
Yeah, that's true.
It would have been something interesting.
It sure seems that way, Adam. Welcome to the age. There can be no heroes when morality is gray. Oh, yeah.
That's a big
If
issue.
you take a standard out, now there is some issues where there are some gray moral issues out there where maybe you have to look at the circumstances surrounding it and so forth, and you don't really know. There's not a clear direction.
And it's really good when they have a really good character who has to make a morally gray decision, and it's something it's the right decision, but they have to struggle with it.
Right.
And they have to live with that decision. I'm thinking Ender's Game sort of thing.
Oh, yeah. Last comment here. Pirates, voodoo. Who's the bad guy? Climate change.
Yep. I think you summed it up quite well.
Yeah, that's probably it. So if you like this material, please subscribe and share. Yes, that's a good one. And and make comments like you guys have been doing. It's great. We had a huge response to the Chat GPT live stream on Tuesday, cool. And there might be some comments in there made me were really good and made me rethink some of what I had said and some of the thoughts there. We'll take another look at that. But it's been fantastic getting all the responses from you guys in the polls and everything like that. And hopefully we'll see you for tomorrow's live stream where we talk about the New Testament. Has it been corrupted or has it been preserved? Until then, enjoy the rest of your day.